Has Mark Zuckerberg's Meta compromised America's national security by working hand in glove with China? Well, a former Meta executive has testified before U.S. senators that the tech giant compromised national security to grow its business in China. Sarah Wynne Williams, a former global public policy director at Facebook, testified on Wednesday that Meta executives worked with the Chinese government to censor dissent on its platforms. Williams alleged that Meta gave the Chinese Communist Party access to user data, including that of Americans. She further testified that Facebook and Instagram aided Beijing in developing censorship tools. Well, as expected, Meta strongly denied the allegations, stating Williams' testimony was divorced from reality and riddled with false claims. Earlier in March, a U.S. court temporarily blocked Williams' memoir titled Careless People, chronicling what she witnessed during her 7 years in the company. Meta said at the time that the false and defamatory book should never have been published. Let's go and take a look at Williams testifying before the U.S. senators.
Was Facebook ever willing to share user data with the Chinese Communist Party?
Yes, Senator.
In fact, they had a plan for that, didn't they? Here's some more documents, internal documents. In exchange for the ability to do operations in China, Facebook will agree to grant the Chinese government access to Chinese user data. Facebook will agree to grant the Chinese government access to Chinese user data, including Hong Kongese user data. And then they talk about they're going to have to get their Hong Kong citizens to re-agree to terms of service so they can slide this right by them. This is extraordinary. Can I just ask you, Ms. Wynne Williams, was Americans' user data ever compromised? Did they ever plan to compromise American user data in any way? Do you know?
One of the challenges with the servicing a market as big as China was the internet infrastructure that would underpin that. So I mentioned the cable that they joined between the US and China, and that would be very helpful. But in servicing this market. But it would still mean that the service would be slow. So they contemplated using POP servers. The challenge with POP servers is that you can't segregate data. It would have American data, it would have Chinese user data, and it would be on Chinese soil.
Facebook is talking about making Chinese user data available to the Chinese government because they're going to store that data in China. Is that correct?
Correct.
But when you store that data in China, Americans who exchange messages or other information with Chinese Facebook users, that would mean the Chinese government could get access to the American data as well. Is that correct?
Through the POP servers, potentially, yes.
And Facebook was willing to take that risk?
Yes, there was a lot of discussion about this, and ultimately, yes. Mark Zuckerberg pledged himself a free speech champion. Yet I witnessed Meta work hand in glove with the Chinese Communist Party to construct and test custom-built censorship tools that silenced and censored their critics. When Beijing demanded that Facebook delete the account of a prominent Chinese dissident living on American soil, they did it, and then lied to Congress when asked about the incident in a Senate hearing. The willingness to censor was not the only troubling thing I witnessed. I watched as executives decided to provide the Chinese Communist Party with access to Meta user data, including that of Americans.